Welcome to the drawing tools. Okay. All right. In this video, we're going to go through not every single drawing tool again, like I did in the toolbar video, but we are going to go through some of the tools we'll be using to draw the bouncing ball in our next video. Okay. So before we do that, I do want to talk again quickly about the line art and color art, overlay art, and underlay art layers, mostly line and color. Now, the reason why it is so important to separate them, let's click here, zoom in. It's really about flexibility. Okay, so let's press Control R, trace, and this is something I do in my, let's plug this in. Something I do in my actual workflow when I'm doing products for clients and stuff. So we can trace in the camera view, but I do love to trace in the drawing view. It just feels more, drawing-esque. So let's press Shift L or click that for the light table. It's a bit bright. Let's zoom in and I'm going to trace the ear. Let's use the pencil tool because we do love flexibility here. Let's come across, trace that. A little wobbly. You can hold Control to close the shape before you're done. So hold Control and release. Let's draw. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well. Oh yeah, that's the stuff. Okay, so I kind of traced this off really quickly. Not very fancy, etc. So let's hold T and swipe, and you can delete pieces that stick out, which is really nice. Now, if yours doesn't look like this, you probably didn't press K. My bad. That's to show us the strokes. We don't need that right now. Let's press K, turn it off. And let us press Alt Q and just delete some of these points. And this is kind of the workflow that you will find yourself doing. Let's delete those, delete some of these. All right. Actually, you can click the line between 2 points and delete that as well. Right? Quite nice. And let us just click that, move it over here. If you hold Alt, you can click a control point and drag and create new handles. So let's do that. Release Alt, move this. And basically control the line to match what you're tracing, even if you're not tracing the ear. You didn't listen to me. So select that, delete, select that, pull out this handle, right? You can also break the handle. So if you select this, you hold Alt and click and drag the handle, and you can break it for a more pointy edge. But we don't want that. So, all right. So we have it traced. All right, fine. This is probably bugging some of you. Good. So we have it traced loosely, and we want to color it, right? So we go to, paint tool, come over here to the color. I created a new color already, and it's just, the color roughly of Cali skin. So, all right, and click plus. All right, so create a new color, and we want to paint this, but remember, you can't paint infinitely, right? This shape is open, as you can see. If we press K, it's not closed. So we have to close the shape first. So we click and drag, come down to close gap, and draw a line here, and it closes the gap. Sweet. So we want to paint this. Let's go to paint, press, click inside. Oh, yay, it's painted. Now these elements are all on the line art layer. So if we wanted to shade the ear later, or the client had some changes to, you know, some parts of the ear or whatever, we can click the brush tool and go over here to the tool properties. Oops. See that repaint brush? Click that. Let's click this and duplicate it so you can see. Let's make a darker for the color. Now, as you can see, as I do this, I am actually painting over the line. Let's press K to see it properly. We're messing up the line as well, right? And if I wanted to add a nice effect to the lines, is going to be applied to the color as well, and to the shading, and to everything that's on this layer. So now I have a line. Let's click and pull. This line is not black anymore. As you can see, the shading is on top of the line. There are a lot of issues here from having things on one layer. And those of you who have used Photoshop before, or any other, GIMP site, any other, drawing application, knows that it's better to have more layers. So let us undo that. Click this and delete that. And I'll show you something else. Show you a little trick. Click color art layer, or press L to swap between the two. And this button creates strokes, those invisible lines. It creates strokes from whatever you have on the line art layer. So make sure you only have lines. Click it, and you can see all of the lines we had before are now strokes. Obviously, this was a stroke, so it doesn't really change. So now we can click that. It's better to name your things. Please don't be like me. Shading. So let's click that and hold I for the paint tool. Click, and now we have the color on a separate layer. So we can come through here, and you know what? I want delete that. I actually want this to be a little shorter. That's nice. And we didn't affect the color. Those strokes don't render, so don't worry about that. The color is unaffected. So this allows for more flexibility, and we can add an effect to the line later if we want, make it wobble. We can do whatever to the line and the color stays the same. And this is going to be really important when you get into rigging. It's going to be super important, actually. And when you get into animation, right? It also allows you to delegate tasks to different people. So you have someone on lines, and then later in the production, you have a separate team to color, right? And it's easier for those people if they have the strokes separate. So, all right, so we can also go here, press Alt X, and it pops us to the repaint brush. Click shading, and now we can come here. Wait, what did I do? Undo. Click shading. We can come here. All right, that brush is too small, so hold O, click and drag. All right, so we can come here and shade in this ear, right? And if we go to the camera view, press K, you can see it's shaded. The line wasn't shaded because we were on the color art layer. And we can always go back and change stuff in the line. Now, obviously, if we did this, there will be a huge gap, that's a separate issue. But we can have more flexibility here. And to finish that explanation, here's an example of the over art layer. So let's zoom out a little here, not too much. Click black to create the correct lines, and click the over art layer. Now you can see everything disappears because this is a separate layer. Now, even though the reference image is not on this trace layer, let's go over to is separate. The light table allows us to see that image in the background. And because the line art that I have here, let's unlock it. If I click it here, it doesn't have anything on those layers, right? So that is why there's nothing here. If you had other things on other layers, it would show up here. So keeping that in mind, go to the over art layer and press this RP to show all the layers at once. And let us, where's that? Draw the, oops, let's hold control. Well, keep in mind when you hold control, it's based on the pressure you started with. So if you start small and end up big, when you hold control, it's gonna be small. So let's hold control, and yes, it is closed. So now we just trace the earring. Press that, and the earring is on a separate layer. You can color that in with well, yeah, let's use that. Oops, hold I. So now we have the earring separate. We can do our own thing with that. We can treat those separately, this separately, and the underlay, well, we don't need it for the ear, but if we did, it's available. So you have that amazing flexibility when you separate the layers. All right. Okay, so moving on to the shape tools. Now, this is a trace layer, so I'll continue to trace some other things. And let's use some shapes. All right, zoom in here on the nose. Hold Control and Alt to rotate your view. It doesn't rotate the actual image. All right. Click and hold here. Yours was probably a rectangle. Click and hold here and click the rectangle. The shortcut for that, I believe, is Alt-7. Yes, Alt-7. And click any corner. Oh, not red. Click any corner. It doesn't actually matter. So click and drag. Yeah, that's fine. Press Alt-Q. And remember, these are pencil tools. So the contour is going to be in the middle, which allows you to edit it way easier, right? So let's click this, hold Control and click to add a point. Click that, pull that here, pull this here. You can click Align Segment and it turns white, and then you click Delete. Now, earlier versions of Harmony will probably have this tip flat. So you can see here, the tip style, you can change that so that when you do that, you see it, this is probably what some of you are seeing. So I like to keep it round because that's nice. And if you hold Shift, you can click, you see the cursor changes here, you can click and drag and bend the line. So we can bend the line a little here. Oh, this doesn't, yeah, that ends here. So let us Control click that, delete it. And as you can see, we're, you know, like starting to trace and do cool stuff, right? Pretty nice, pretty nice. So what I'm showing you here are the tools. So often there's going to be a shape tool that helps you. So if we click the ellipse, we can actually hold Alt and it creates it from the center, right? Alt S to switch to select tool, we can rotate it. And you see, you can really speed up your tracing workflow if you just use some of these shape tools. They really speed up what you're doing, right? So, and the best part is since they're all pencil tools, if I go to the pencil tool, which is Alt / and I change the size here, right? If I do that, okay, that doesn't matter. If I do that, right, you can see here the size is 29.6. Now the best part is if I switch to something else, it keeps that size because it's the pencil tool. So it knows that, okay, they probably want that to stay the same size. And that's really nice when you're tracing and everything is the same size. So that's really nice. Now to finish off this section, I would like to show you, click and hold, pencil editor. Remember, we can always click control here and we can hold shift and bring in that. So create another point here, hold shift. Yeah. So we can make a lot of nice tapers to really match the artwork that we have, right? And they're all control points in some way. So you can hold this to taper that in properly, and, get crazy with it, right? So let's turn off the light table and you can see that really looks, that looks kind of cool, right? All right, now to finish up this video, I would like to go through exposures again. A bit more, just a little more detail and a little more practical example of the exposures. So let's go back to the node view, disable that, Control R and exposed. Yeah, why not? Add and close, plug that in. Exposed, right? So that's our new drawing, and we're going to click that and disable that as well. Click this, and we can go back to the camera drawing if we want, just to have some out here, just to see it in context. Now let's draw. Let's use the brush tool. Let's go crazy, right? Let's draw a circle here. Oh yes, repaint. I do hate that about the repaint tool. It stays selected. Click that. So let's draw a circle, right? And let us draw two eyes really quickly, right? It's crazy eyes. Now open your library panel and pay attention to that area up there. So remember when we did in the timeline video, we know that if we press play, it's going to disappear because it is only exposed on that frame. It's only going to show up on frame 1. So let's go to frame 20 and press F5. It's going to show up for 20 frames, then disappear. Oh, I have my onion skins enabled. Let's turn it off. Now, what we can do is in the middle of its exposure, at any point, we can use that button to duplicate this drawing. So if we click this, you notice this changes to a 2. Now that is a drawing substitution. So what that basically means is if you think about this as a piece of paper and this as the artwork that you draw on it, right? Then these are switching out that drawing. It's switching out the artwork that you have drawn. So for example, actually you can think of this as a booklet, I guess, like a flip book. Yes, actually, this is a flip book. And this is the first drawing in that flip book. This is the second. Now they're identical, so whenever we change from one to the other, nothing happens. But if we select our select tool and delete the pupils, right? When we scrub, you can see the pupils disappear because we deleted them on the second drawing. So if this were a flip book, well, I mean, it would be the same effect. So what I'm trying to say is the drawing substitutions allow you to store multiple drawings in one node. And this is used so much in even rigging solutions where you want a character to blink. So let's undo. We can actually, because we don't want to be redrawing the head all the time, we can duplicate it and go back to the brush tool, Alt B. Hold E to erase, right? Here is that. And we can make this character blink. Now turn on your onion skin and do like, you know, like a curve, like a blink, right? Turn them off. And now they're blinking, right? And then you can come between here and duplicate it again, right? And change that. So let's rub that out, right? Turn on your onion skins and we can start to close the eye, I guess. Ooh, right? Draw back the pupil here. And if we play that, turn off that. If we play it, it looks like the character blinked, right? So you can get an idea of how you can really go in and start animating just with drawing substitutions. No pegs, no nothing. Just drawing and going, drawing and going. And you remember, if you're on an empty frame, you can draw and it will create a new drawing substitution for you, right? There's a fourth one. So this is the first one. This is the third one we made. This is the second one we made, remember? And then we just did that. That's the fourth one. Now, I'll show you here that if we delete this, click and drag, delete. We just deleted 2 drawings, right? Well, we didn't. We deleted the exposures, so they're not showing up here anymore. But at any point in your scene, you can come up here and drag this to bring it back, right? So now it's here again. And then you can expose it and do all that nice stuff. Now, if you have a drawing you don't like and you wanted to delete it, right? Like, you don't want to just delete its exposure. You want to delete it. You know what I mean? We can click this. Well, you don't have to click that, but the drawing has to be selected. And you can, well, there are multiple ways to do it, but you can go up to the drawing panel here and click delete selected drawings. Now, if you do that, it's gone, right? It was exposed here and now it's gone. It's gone for good. It's not exposed and it's not here to be selected anymore, right? So that's a way you can do that. And you can also right click, go to drawings, delete selected drawings, right? Now I just deleted another one, which was, I mean, it's not a big deal. So we click here and press F5 to fill in the gaps. Undo, because there's another way you can do that. You can select the area that is empty and click that, fill empty cells. Pretty nice, right? So that's an example of how you can use exposures to create your animation. Sorry, drawing substitutions. Now, you can also name your substitutions. And when you're creating hundreds or, you know, tens or hundreds of substitutions, naming them might not be very wise. But if you're doing lip sync, like you have your mouths, you might want to name some of the most happy, sad, angry, whatever. So you can do that by clicking the exposure you want, the substitution, press Control D. You see 2? So we can call that closed. Closed. And click that, Control D, call that open. Now, this is not really super common for traditional animation because you'll have so many drawings. It doesn't make sense renaming every single drawing. The actual drawing node will probably tell you what that will describe it, right? But the option is here if you do want to rename that, right? So that is a good run through, I believe, of the drawing tools, what we'll be needing to go through the bouncing ball project in the next video. And I hope you understood. I hope you had some fun. We got to do some animation, so that's nice. In the next video, we'll be doing the bouncing ball. So thank you for watching again, and peace.